Okay, everyone. I'm going to double check because I get paranoid here. Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. I am live here with the wonderful and the fabulous Lydia Barrett. Lydia, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your wisdom and your experience because you have so much. You really, you're an amazing human being, mama, wife, everything. Um, uh, you're a homeschooling mama. How old is your oldest?
She's 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are the other ages of your kids?
6, 4, and 2.
Yeah. And you guys, she is like a complete rock star in her business and how she's growing and how she's showing up and how she's raising her prices. And I just want to welcome you and thank you for taking time out of your day to come share.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be here.
Yeah. So as always, before we get on these Facebook lives to come on and share things, we chat. What are we going to talk about? Like, what would make the most sense? How have you been doing? And we have those kind of conversations. And Lydia, back in September, I believe it was, did a live with me, and she shared, really generously about her experience in not having people follow through. And she actually kept track of how many people followed through and how many people didn't. And I want to say it was like 80% of people.
Right. It was 80% that did not follow through and only 20% that did follow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, and I have completely been there. So I 100% believe it. I didn't have the smarts to track it like that, but it's true. And so many practitioners get discouraged by that.
Yeah. It is it can be very discouraging.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, because then we take it on ourselves and figure out that, well, maybe I'm not doing something right. And why aren't they following through? And I'm giving them all of this information. They literally have all the information.
Yeah.
They should be able to do this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Only. Yeah. And it's like it's really like the biggest initial stumbling block that we all face. And it's in, we either learn how to work through it or we stay there.
Right.
Yeah. And we stay there and then nothing really happens. So I asked Lydia a question, and because we were talking about, what would be the most valuable thing that she, shared that she's experienced since September. And I happen to just know that she's, recently been raising her prices. And I asked her, do you feel like raising your prices is in relationship to you being able to, be in a space of, feeling free and having the skills and the tools to be able to help your clients follow through? And what'd you say, Lydia?
Oh, it totally is. I had realized, and I think it's really funny. I go through this cycle several times. I've gone through this, and I start with a price, and I get people, and I'm giving so much, and then I get discouraged because I'm literally, for a while, I was tracking how much I was making. It was like less than $4 an hour. I mean, it was insane how much I was doing behind the scenes. Like, really? Part of it was new learning curves, all this good stuff, but I mean, insane. And so I realized, okay, I had to raise my prices, and I felt really good about that for a while, for probably like 9 months. So it wasn't even that long. And then I was losing my joy of doing it again, almost. And it came back to, like Nancy said, like, I'm a homeschooling mom. My husband's a firefighter. He's gone 2 days at a time. We have a dog. Like, there's a lot. We're in a homeschool co-op. I was helping get a new preschool program off the ground. There's just a lot going on in my life. And I was just realizing that the joy was starting to lack again. And so it came down to, okay, something's got to give in my life. And so I raised my prices again, thinking, okay, maybe I won't take on as many clients. And that wasn't the case. I enrolled several new clients at that higher price. But I was able to show up again with a lot more joy. And I think that just continues to attract people because you're showing up with more joy. You're just showing up fully. And I know a lot of times there's this hesitancy to raise prices and charge what we're worth because we don't want to scare people off. And there's the scarcity mindset, really, of, okay, but I need people in here, so I can't charge this much because it will scare them off. And really, when we move away from that scarcity mindset of, okay, I'm going to charge what I'm worth and what I can show up with and be confident in what I'm doing and showing up at this, people really respond to that.
Yeah.
That's been my experience with it for sure.
Absolutely.
So
Such a great point. And I think I wrote down the word integrity because I feel like you mentioned that word of really being able to show up in joy, which is a beautiful way of saying it.
Yeah.
And integrity with yourself and not in this space of resentment. You didn't say that. I said that resentment where, God, I'm like overworking and like, I think we've all, I mean, I've been in the $4 an hour club.
Yeah.
And can we count the sleepless nights?
I know.
That counts. That takes it down to $250 an hour. Yeah, and people can feel the difference in vibration of like, I hope you sign up, and I'll just make myself as small as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident that I can get you, that I'm confident in my skills, and this is what I'm worth, and this price makes sense, and that's really the end of story.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's just a really powerful message, and that's where that inner shift comes. That is really like, there's a difference, and I really feel like this is a great place to share this. There's a really big difference between being confident in your work and having experience and knowing you can help someone and getting a knack back and getting a test result back and going like, yes, I got this. And that's separate from your own personal self-confidence and your self-assuredness to know that like, I absolutely can charge, $14.97, $19.97 for this package, for this program. Right?
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think, part of what was happening before with my pricing, I feel like, is some of the times we weren't talking about nutrition even. And I was just like, wait, you guys, you're paying me all of this money. I feel like I need to give you all of this information. And it's been interesting as I've raised my prices. And I think one of the last phone calls I had last week, we didn't talk about nutrition at all. And she signed up for the nutrition package. We are working through some health issues. And there was just so much mental stuff going on that we couldn't get any breakthrough until we literally created a way for her to help her children to start doing their chores around the house.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it freed up mental space for her. And she felt so confident that, okay, I can get them to do this. And that means I can go to bed earlier, which is a goal we've been working on for months.
Yes.
And by getting to go to bed earlier, health starts improving.
So it was like
clearing the clutter. What's that?
So it was like clearing the clutter.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely what we were doing for her.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's been really neat for me to feel confident in that place of knowing that clearing the clutter is vital. They already know so much.
Yeah. So what Lydia is talking about is a section of Bounce and Shine where we invite the client to become aware of their environment and the things mentally and physically
Yeah.
that exist that could possibly turn into challenges and obstacles. And so it's kind of just like priming the environment. We go to garden, we go to grow something. We have to get this, till the soil and get everything ready and make sure that, um, you know, the plants are going to flourish and they're going to grow. And that's what we want our clients to do. We want them to grow. Healing is a form of growing. So that's what we do at the very beginning of just like taking a look, and we don't tell them what to do. We just are there and we take them through a process of knowing and understanding that there's a space that they're in right now that's not serving them. Um, almost always. So how, and we work on the premise of like, how can the information take
Right.
hold if it's in the same environment, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much space that we have in our heads.
Yeah. And so how has that built your confidence to be able to get off of a phone call with somebody or a session? I know you work remotely, to be able to get off, come off of a session with somebody and know that you offered immense value in just who you are, and you didn't have to come up with, an encyclopedia of functional nutrition knowledge to be able to impact that person's life.
I mean, that has just been so big for me, because I've been in NTP for 7 years now. I have a knowledge base for sure, but again, that helping them be in a space ready to receive the information. I think that's been one of the biggest shifts, and it is really fun. It's fun now when I get off the phone and I'm just like sitting afterwards writing my notes about our chat and everything, and it's just such a fun space to be in. There's no, oh, but I didn't get to this anymore. Um it's just fun knowing that when we get off the phone and they are just like, and I ask them, how are you feeling about doing this, and what's your big takeaway, and all of these things, and to hear the relief in their voice is huge for me. To just know that something as simple as clearing the clutter away from their mind. Yeah, I don't know. To get off the phone with people like that is just
Amazing.
amazing. Like, I don't even have words to describe how amazing it is. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I'll just tell this a really brief story. Like when I started getting into this work, I went to my coach that I had been seeing at the time. He was kind of like a spiritual but also a business coach, because those things can go together, right? And I was like, I really like this, but it's just too easy. It's just too easy, and I don't feel like I'm working hard. And I was like, he's like, that's a sign you're on the right track. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't mean that you don't use your knowledge or your expertise, right? We get stuck into like either or thinking. It's both. And it's powerful. And I know I get a lot of, I don't know if you've had this experience of watching health coaches, and having the conversation of, well, that health coach like shows up so powerfully and they're so visible and they just act like they have the solution to, world hunger. Like it's just constantly like, putting themselves out there, and I know more than that person. Right.
Yeah.
That conversation, like I know more than this person over here, but she's just showing up like she knows everything.
Right.
And there's a space where you can have both. Yeah. And I really feel like that's the space where we find the most joy and the most success and the most happiness and the most fulfillment. This is a job of fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think our clients really appreciate that as well, because I know a lot of people I work with haven't felt that before. They haven't worked with somebody who's working through those other layers. They've heard a lot of the health stuff before, possibly, but as far as working through these other layers, they don't have that.
Nope.
And so they feel confident when we get together and know knowing that, okay, she has a knowledge base, but she can help me through what I'm going through right now. And then when I do have the questions, she might not know the answer off the top of her head, but she can get back to me with that information.
Yeah, of course.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
So I used to feel like I needed to know. If they had a question, I felt like I needed to know everything. And to realize I don't need to know everything to help this person.
Yeah. And you know a lot.
Yeah. But that saying of the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm always just like, oh, if someone asks me a question, they're like, well, you don't need to look into that. I know you have a lot going on. And I normally end up going down the rabbit hole because I'm like, oh, that's a good question. I want to know about that.
Yeah, that's like every client is a gift. Right?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, they bring so much learning, just to our own knowledge base. So integrity, and can we just touch on this other piece like this, when we don't charge enough or we can't seem to get ourselves going, or we undervalue our services, we undervalue ourselves, the level or the resentment that comes with that, and the feeling small and the lack of confidence. And it's like, we know, oftentimes, like I've talked to so many practitioners, like we have the vision of what we want it to look like, but we just can't seem to get there. And we feel like sometimes the answer is to watch what everybody else is doing. And granted, there are certain things that everybody needs. Right. And I've been posting a lot more about that, as far as just having a great core offer and being able to build from that with your marketing and your content. But doing any of that from a space of feeling small or resent, even if you have you're working with one or two clients, right, and that's it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, it really goes back to that difference between, building confidence in your work by seeing clients, and then your own personal self-assuredness and just that price point where and I don't know about you, if we talked about this, Lydia, and any of our work or during Balance and Shine, and I'll just add this little tidbit on charging. Mm-hmm. But I am not a big fan of, unless you're like super, 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 super undercharging, of the double your mindset, or to double your mindset. You should double your mindset of doubling your price, or, just come up with this amount and just charge it and people will pay it. I am not a fan of that. And I don't believe that it aligns with our work at all. And I think it's out of integrity. So right. I'm a big fan of, taking where you're at. If you're ridiculously low, right, message me. I'll tell you if you're ridiculously low. If you're in the $4 an hour club, it's really about, just going outside just outside your comfort zone. Like, we don't need to make ourselves so stressed out and in the spirit of growth that we just rubber band back. So it's like, I like people, if someone's charging, $297 for like an 8-week program, then it's like, hey, I'd love to see it if you could raise that up to, $379.
Right.
And then, how's that feel? Okay, feels good. 2 clients at that. Okay, let's go and let's take that to $459 now. Okay, let's jump up to $697. Now you have, and so it's like, I really am a big supporter of that incremental growth and feeling in rapport. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I think, that whole doubling right off the bat, I think a lot of people don't feel like they can do that with integrity. And that word, I think that's huge, because you have to have integrity with yourself. And so if I had gone, let's just say, when I first started, and I do this with hair testing, I was doing a 6-session package for $279. If I had gone from that up to the almost $800 that I charge now, I would not have felt good about that. That's just not my mindset. And I think it's the same thing as, we continue to grow. I know so many people who are just like, I just want to be there already.
Yeah.
That's not life. We're never going to just be there already. This is a journey. The whole life is a journey. And so if we can just get into that mindset of, okay, let's enjoy this journey. And I went up, I went up from 279 to 7, I don't remember, or I'm in 479 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a big enough jump that it felt like, okay, this is a big jump, but I felt like I was doing that value, and I was giving that value for sure. And so I was showing up and doing it well. And it was only when I started to feel like that resentment starting to come up and realize, okay, I'm now undercharging for where I'm at again, even though it's only been 9 months. And so I needed to up it again. And so that incremental growth is important because you're doing it as you're continuing to grow. And
Yeah.
that doesn't just mean more clients. That just means, your mindset, everything. You're just having growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty big.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't end. Like, you're going to keep raising your prices.
Right.
You're going to keep
Yep.
going. And you're free to. And that's really the message here, is that you're free to do that. Not just because you've done the work, but because you are working within a frame set and a mindset that allows you to know that you are super valuable and worthy, separate from your knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's just that one of those core beliefs that we all have to take on at some point in order to do this work without falling apart on a regular basis. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing about this, because this is something that I know a lot of practitioners, whether you're starting out or whether you're in your first couple of years of business, are trying to constantly figure out. And it feels like just the mind is just like trying to figure out like what the answer is.
Right.
And the answer is just to pick a price and go with it. And then just go from there. Yeah. And don't let it stop you. So,
Right.
So thank you. Do you have any last thing that you want to offer to everyone?
I mean, I think just going along with that, just know that you will grow. And so that picking a price point and going with it, just be okay that, you might raise that in 4 or 6 or 8 months or whatever it's going to be. And just being okay that life is change and growth, and you don't have to have your whole business plan figured out before you start. That's always what stopped me, is I felt like, okay, I need everything lined up before I start.
Yeah.
And it holds you back for sure. And so finally, when I just said, okay, we're starting here, starting this. And then as I continue to grow and figure things out, then it gets raised and whatever. So just, that would be my last words of encouragement, I guess, is just start.
Yeah.
Start.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Where did your first client come from? Just last thing.
So I come from a family of 9.
Yes.
9 and so we've got lots of health problems in my family, but they know what I do. And so it's really funny. Most people, their family is the most resistant. And I've actually found my family to be pretty receptive, and I've worked with about half of them. So I started with them, and as they've grown, now I'm getting clients from all over the country because my family is scattered all over the country, and
yeah,
they've told people, and then those people have told people. So it's just kind of growing organically, I guess.
Yeah. So working from the inside out, the best way to go.
Yeah. Yep.
I always say your next client's like probably right in front of you. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to come on and share again. If people have any questions about Balance and Shine, can they reach out and ask you?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And we'll have a good day, Lydia. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.